The moon was quiet that night, too quiet. Private Jin Ho Park walked the perimeter of Outpost Luna 7, his boots making soft crunching sounds on the dusty surface. He stopped to look at Earth, hanging like a blue marble in the black sky. 3 years into his 5-year tour, and that view still took his breath away. Jin Ho checked his oxygen levels. 4 hours remaining. Plenty of time for the rest of his patrol. He tapped the communication device on his wrist. Perimeter check complete. Base. All clear on the western quadrant. Copy that, Park. Return to base for shift change in 30 minutes. The voice of Captain Sung crackled through his helmet. Jin Ho was about to respond when a flash of light caught his eye. It wasn't the usual reflection from Earth or the distant sun. This light moved with purpose, growing larger by the second. Base, I'm seeing something strange. Possible unidentified. His words died as the light suddenly split into 3 smaller lights, each moving in different directions. They weren't meteors or satellites. They moved too precisely. Base, do you copy? I think we have visitors. Static was his only answer. Jin Ho reached for his sidearm, a standard-issue laser pistol. Not that it would do much good against anything that could travel through space, but its familiar weight was comforting. The 3 lights circled overhead, then suddenly dropped toward the lunar surface. They landed about 50 meters away, sending up plumes of dust. Jin Ho ducked behind a large rock, trying to keep his breathing steady. When the dust settled, Jin Ho saw them. 3 sleek, silver crafts shaped like arrowheads. A seam appeared in the side of the closest one, and a ramp extended to the ground. Jin Ho activated his helmet's recording function. Whatever happened next, Earth needed to know. 6 tall figures emerged from the craft. They wore armored suits that seemed to shift colors with each movement, blending partially with the lunar landscape. Their helmets had no visible faceplates, just a smooth, reflective surface. Base, Jin Ho whispered. If you can hear me, we have first contact. I repeat, first contact. The static on his comm suddenly cleared. Private Park, return to base immediately. Captain Sung's voice was urgent. The figures turned toward Jin Ho's position. One of them raised what looked like a weapon. Jin Ho ran. His lunar gravity training gave him long, bounding strides, but the visitors were faster. Much faster. They moved with an unnatural grace, covering ground in great leaps that defied even the moon's low gravity. A beam of blue light shot past Jin Ho's head. Another hit the ground in front of him, sending up a spray of dust that temporarily blinded him. He stumbled, fell, and rolled behind a crater rim. Captain, I'm under fire, Jin Ho shouted into his comm. 3 more beams hit nearby. Jin Ho fired back with his pistol, but the energy pulses seemed to dissipate before reaching the attackers. One of the figures appeared at the edge of the crater, looking down at him. Jin Ho could see his own reflection in the helmet's surface. The figure raised a hand. 5 fingers, just like a human. Who are you? Jin Ho asked. The figure tilted its head, then spoke in a voice that sounded like metal grinding on stone. Subject located. Suitable for examination. Another figure joined the first. Commander Taiho. This one has weapons. Primitive, but still dangerous. The one called Taiho made a gesture that might have been dismissive. Lieutenant Doyen, secure the specimen. We don't have much time before their defenses respond. Jin Ho raised his pistol, but before he could fire, a third alien appeared behind him. Something cold pressed against his neck, and Jin Ho felt a sharp sting. His limbs grew heavy. The pistol fell from numb fingers. Jin Ho tried to reach for his emergency beacon, but his arm wouldn't move. Why? He managed to ask as darkness crept into the edges of his vision. Commander Taiho leaned closer. Knowledge, human. Your kind has sparked interest. The last thing Jin Ho saw was Earth, beautiful and oblivious, as alien hands lifted him from the lunar surface. Then darkness took him completely. The docking bay of the Krovak ship hummed with tension. Commander Tahoe stood with Jin Ho and his officers, watching as the airlock cycled. Behind them, armed Kravax guards formed a line, weapons held ready but not raised. "Your people move quickly," Tahoe noted. Jin Ho nodded. "We've been preparing for this day for decades." The airlock door slid open with a hiss. Colonel Hannah stepped through first. A tall woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes. Behind her came 4 more humans in sleek black uniforms without visible weapons. "Private Park," Colonel Hannah said, her voice crisp. "Good to see you intact." Jin Ho stood straighter. "Thank you, Colonel. May I present Commander Tahoe of the Kravax reconnaissance vessel Sunderer." Colonel Hannah turned to Tahoe, studying him with calculating eyes. "Commander, your actions have triggered first contact protocols. Not the peaceful ones we had hoped for, but the defensive contingencies." Tahoe's face remained impassive. "We acted on behalf of the Galactic Consortium to assess potential threats, and instead discovered one." Colonel Hannah replied coldly. She turned to one of her team. "Major Sangman, the status report." The tall man stepped forward, activating a small device in his hand. A holographic display appeared, showing the space around them. Jin Ho counted at least 12 Earth vessels surrounding the Kravax ship. "We have the Sunderer contained," Major Sangman reported. 3 more ships have just arrived from Mars base. The moon defensive grid is activated and tracking the Kravax vessel. We also detected 2 more consortium ships at the edge of our system. They appear to be maintaining position. Tahoe looked alarmed. "You've detected our support vessels." "Impossible. They use the most advanced cloaking technology in the consortium." Colonel Hannah smiled thinly. "Not as advanced as you thought, Commander. We've been monitoring them since they entered our system 3 days ago." Communications specialist Yuna stepped closer to the hologram. "Your ship's design, they're unlike anything in our records of Earth technology." "Because we kept them hidden," Colonel Hannah explained. "Built in secret bases throughout the asteroid belt and beneath the surface of Mars. Earth appears primitive because we choose to show you only what we want you to see." Jin Ho watched the exchange with fascination. The knowledge unlocked in his enhanced mind told him much, but even he hadn't known the full extent of Earth's preparations. Lieutenant Doyen spoke up, his voice tense. "What are your intentions, Colonel? Is this the beginning of war between Earth and the consortium?" Colonel Hannah turned to him. "That depends on the commander's next decision." She gestured, and another member of her team came forward carrying a small case. The woman opened it to reveal a device unlike anything Jin Ho had seen before. "This is a quantum communication link," Colonel Hannah explained. "It will allow direct contact between Earth Defense Command and the Galactic Consortium's leadership. No delays, no misunderstandings." Tahoe looked at the device with suspicion. "The Consortium Council is 40 light-years from here. Distance is not relevant to quantum communication," Colonel Hannah replied. "Another technology we've kept to ourselves." Jin Ho stepped forward. "Commander Tahoe, you have a choice to make. You came here to assess Earth as a potential conquest. That option is gone now. But there are 2 paths forward. You become prisoners of war, or you become the first diplomatic channel between Earth and the consortium." Tahoe looked around at the Earth vessels displayed in the hologram, then at his own officers. Jin Ho could see the calculation in his eyes, weighing options and outcomes. "If I choose diplomacy," Tahoe said carefully, "what guarantees do we have of safe passage once discussions are complete?" "My word," Colonel Hannah said simply. "Earth doesn't want war, Commander. We want recognition, respect, a seat at the galactic table." Dr. Jisung, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "Commander, their genetic enhancement program alone would be valuable to the consortium. Peaceful exchange would benefit both sides." Tahoe was quiet for a long moment. Then he straightened, decision made. "I accept the role of diplomatic intermediary," he said formally. "The Sunderer will stand down all offensive systems." Colonel Hannah nodded, satisfaction in her eyes. "A wise choice, Commander." Major Sangman, inform Fleet Command that preliminary negotiations have begun. Jin-Ho felt the tension in the room ease slightly. His first mission as an enhanced soldier was succeeding. Earth's first official contact with alien life would be from a position of strength, not weakness. And it had all started with his dog tags. The ship rocked with another blast from the Earth vessels. Alarms wailed louder, and red emergency lights cast eerie shadows across the room. All hands to battle stations. Commander Tejo ordered into his communicator, "Prepare defense systems." In the chaos, Jin-Ho saw his chance. He moved with unexpected speed, ducking under Doyen's weapon. His hand shot out, grabbing the lieutenant's wrist and twisting. The weapon clattered to the floor. "Stop him," Tejo shouted, firing his own weapon. Jin-Ho felt the energy blast coming and moved aside with inhuman reflexes. The shot hit a control panel, sending sparks flying. Jin-Ho grabbed the fallen weapon and rolled behind a medical table as more shots followed. "Lock down the ship," Tejo commanded. "Security teams to the medical bay." Jin-Ho's mind worked faster than ever before. He could visualize the ship's layout from glimpses he'd caught during his brief consciousness. He knew he needed to reach the communications center to contact the Earth vessels. Security Officer Hyunwoo moved toward Jin-Ho's position with another guard. Jin-Ho waited until they were close, then sprang up, using his new strength to flip the heavy table at them. The guards fell backward, stunned by the impact. "Sorry about that," Jin-Ho muttered as he darted past them toward the door. The corridor outside was bathed in the same red emergency light. Jin-Ho paused, listening. His enhanced hearing picked up the sound of running footsteps coming from the right. He turned left and ran. His body moved with perfect balance and control. Each stride felt powerful yet precise. Jin-Ho realized that these enhancements must have been dormant inside him for years, waiting for the right moment to activate. Behind him, he heard Tejo's voice. "All sections, the human prisoner is loose. He is dangerous. Shoot to disable only." Jin-Ho reached a junction in the corridor. Signs in the alien language marked each path. Somehow he could understand them now. The left path led to the engine room, the right to the bridge, and straight ahead to communications. He chose straight ahead, but skidded to a halt as a door slid open, and 3 armed guards emerged. They raised their weapons. Jin-Ho didn't wait. He jumped, higher than he thought possible, and caught a pipe running along the ceiling. With his new strength, he swung himself over the guards' heads and landed behind them. Before they could turn, he struck precisely at the backs of their necks, using knowledge of alien anatomy he didn't know he possessed. The guards dropped unconscious. Jin-Ho continued running. "How do I know these things?" he wondered aloud. The enhancements weren't just physical. They included combat knowledge and language skills. He reached the communications center. 2 Kravax officers looked up in shock as he entered. Yunho was one of them. "Don't move," Jin-Ho said calmly, holding the weapon he'd taken. "I just need to send a message." Yunha stared at him. "You're not what we expected." "Neither is Earth," Jin-Ho replied. He moved to a console, his fingers somehow knowing which controls to use. The alien technology responded to his touch. "Earth Fleet, this is Private Jin-Ho Park. I've been activated under Protocol Revelation. Requesting guidance." The screen flickered, and a human face appeared. A stern-looking woman with Colonel's insignia. "Private Park. Verification code." Jin-Ho's enhanced mind provided the answer instantly. "Sunflower 7 Delta Echo." The Colonel nodded. "Verification accepted. What is your status?" "Aboard Kravax vessel. Enhancement activated. Ship under attack." "Understood. We'll cease fire. Your orders are to secure the ship's command center. Diplomacy team standing by." The screen went dark as the transmission ended. Jin-Ho turned to find Yunha watching him closely. "You knew," she said. "Your people knew about us all along." Jin-Ho shook his head. "I didn't know. But yes, Earth has been preparing. Your people weren't as secret as you thought. The ship shuddered, but not from weapons fire. The engines were powering down. Pilot Officer Seojin's voice came over the intercom. Commander, Earth vessels are surrounding us. They're requesting to dock. They say, his voice faltered, they say they want to talk. Jinho looked at Yuna. It's time for proper introductions between our species. But first, take me to your commander. Yuna hesitated, then nodded. Follow me. As they left the communications center, Jinho realized this was just the beginning. Whatever Earth had been planning, whatever he had been made for, it was all coming to light now. And the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months had passed since the day Jinho was taken from the lunar surface. Now he stood on the observation deck of the Harmony, a joint Earth consortium vessel that symbolized the new relationship between humanity and the galactic community. The ship was a marvel of combined technology. Human genetic engineering and quantum communications merged with Kravak's faster-than-light drives and shield systems. It was the first of many planned cooperative projects. Jinho watched as Earth grew smaller in the viewport. The Harmony was headed for Consortium Central, where he would serve as Earth's first official representative. His enhanced body had fully stabilized, and he had spent the last 6 months training for his new diplomatic role. Still hard to believe, isn't it? Said a voice behind him. Jinho turned to see Commander Tayo, now serving as the Kravak's liaison officer aboard the Harmony. What part? Jinho asked with a smile. That I went from hostage to diplomat, or that our species didn't end up at war. Tayo moved to stand beside him at the viewport. Both. The Consortium Council was skeptical when I first reported our findings. Some wanted to launch an immediate fleet to put Earth in its place. What changed their minds? The demonstration of your quantum link technology during the emergency session, Tayo said. When your leaders appeared as if they were physically in the council chamber, 40 light years away, many counselors realized that underestimating humans would be a grave mistake. Jinho nodded. Earth had revealed just enough of its advanced technology to earn respect without showing all its cards. It was a careful balance. Dr. Jizung entered the observation deck, followed by Yuna. Both had requested assignment to the Harmony as part of the cultural exchange program. Private Park. Ambassador Park. Dr. Jizung corrected himself. Your latest scans show perfect stability in your enhanced systems. You're a remarkable specimen. Thank you, Doctor. And please, just call me Jinho now. Yuna handed him a small datapad. The Earth Defense Team asked me to deliver this to you. It contains updated diplomatic protocols for your meeting with the Science Council. Jinho took the pad with a nod of thanks. He had come to appreciate Yuna's efficiency and her genuine interest in human culture. 6 months ago, we thought we were capturing a primitive soldier, she said, looking out at the stars. Instead, we found the key to a new alliance. Lieutenant Doyen joined them, now serving as security chief on the Harmony. Your dog tags, he said to Jinho, they changed the course of galactic history. Jinho touched the tags he still wore around his neck. They were now recognized throughout the consortium as a symbol of the human capacity for strategic thinking. Earth's approach was brilliant, Tayo admitted. Appearing primitive while developing advanced technology in secret. No one suspected. It wasn't just strategy, Jinho explained. We learned long ago that first contact between species often goes badly for the less advanced one. Earth needed to ensure we wouldn't be seen as easy prey. Pilot Officer Seojin announced over the ship's communication system. Preparing for FTL jump in 5 minutes. All personnel please secure stations. As the crew dispersed to their positions, Jinho remained at the viewport with Tayo. What do you think the future holds for our peoples? The commander asked. Jinho considered the question. Partnership, I hope. Earth has much to offer the consortium, and much to learn as well. And you? From soldier to diplomat, is this the future you wanted? Jinho smiled. I joined Earth's Defense Force to protect my home. This is just a different way of doing that. The ship hummed as the FTL drive powered up. Soon, they would be traveling faster than light toward a new chapter in human history. You know, Tahoe said as the stars began to distort in the viewport, in all my years of service, I never expected that abducting one human soldier would lead to all this. That's the thing about humans, Jin-Ho replied with a smile. We're full of surprises. As the Harmony leaped into faster-than-light travel, Jin-Ho thought about the chain of events that had brought him here. A routine patrol, an abduction, and a secret hidden in his dog tags that changed everything. Not just for him, but for every human and every species they would now meet among the stars. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would he. Pain was the first thing Jin-Ho felt, a dull ache behind his eyes that pulsed with each beat of his heart. The second thing he noticed was that he couldn't move his arms or legs. Jin-Ho opened his eyes slowly. Bright light made him squint. He was in a room with smooth metal walls that glowed with a faint blue light. He was strapped to a chair that seemed to mold to his body, holding him firmly but not painfully. The specimen is awake, a voice said. Jin-Ho turned his head as much as the restraints allowed. A tall figure stood nearby, its skin a pale gray with faint scale-like patterns. Without the helmet, Jin-Ho could see that the alien had a face almost like a human's, but with wider-set eyes that were completely black. No whites, no visible pupils. Where am I? Jin-Ho asked, his voice hoarse. You are aboard the Kravax cruiser Sunderer, the alien said. I am Dr. Jisung, Chief Medical Officer. A door slid open, and two more aliens entered. Jin-Ho recognized them by their movements. Commander Tahoe and Lieutenant Doyen. Tahoe stepped forward. I trust your rest was adequate, human. Jin-Ho straightened his back as much as he could. Private Jin-Ho Park, Earth Defense Force, ID number 27 to 800 and 3544A. That's all I'm required to tell you. Tahoe made a sound that might have been a laugh. Your military protocols are unnecessary. We have no interest in your primitive weapons or defenses. Then why am I here? Jin-Ho asked. Doyen moved closer, studying Jin-Ho with those black eyes. You are the first human we've been able to take alive. Previous specimens expired during collection. Jin-Ho felt cold at those words. There had been others. No reports of missing personnel had ever mentioned alien abduction. How many? Jin-Ho demanded. 3. Dr. Jisung said, checking something on a transparent tablet. Their bodies were too fragile. We've adjusted our methods. Tahoe waved a hand dismissively. Enough talk. Begin the testing. Dr. Jisung pressed something on his tablet, and Jin-Ho's chair reclined until he was nearly horizontal. A machine lowered from the ceiling, scanning him with beams of green light. What do you want from me? Jin-Ho asked, trying to keep the fear from his voice. Information. Tahoe said simply. Your species is unusual. You appear primitive, yet you've spread to your moon. Your technology is basic, yet you survived on a planet with extreme climate variations. Doyen leaned over Jin-Ho. Tell us about your military. How many soldiers? What weapons do you have? Jin-Ho set his jaw. Private Jin-Ho Park, Earth Defense Force, ID number 27 to 800 and 3544A. Doyen hissed in frustration. The human refuses to cooperate. They often do it first, said a new voice. A female Kravax entered the room. She was smaller than the others, with more delicate features. Communications Specialist Yuna. She introduced herself. I study your species' broadcasts. Humans respond better to a gentler approach. She came closer to Jin-Ho. We don't wish to harm you. We only need to understand your kind better. By kidnapping me? Jin-Ho asked. By studying you, she corrected. The Galactic Consortium requires information on all potentially spacefaring species. Dr. Jisung looked up from his tablet with a puzzled expression. Commander, these readings are unusual. The human's cellular structure shows signs of. He was interrupted by an alarm. Red lights flashed, and a voice boomed through hidden speakers. Alert! Earth vessels detected leaving lunar orbit. 4 ships on intercept course. Tahoe turned to Doyen. Impossible. Their sensors shouldn't have detected us. Doyen hurried to a wall panel. They're using a tracking signal. Something is broadcasting our location. All eyes turned to Jinho. Search him again, Tahoe ordered. Every item, every thread of clothing. Security Officer Hyunwoo entered and began a thorough search of Jinho's belongings, which had been placed in a clear container nearby. Jinho smiled slightly. Earth knew he was missing. They were coming for him. All he had to do was stay alive. Hyunwoo held up Jinho's dog tags. Commander, these metal identifiers. Could they contain a tracking device? Tahoe took the dog tags, studying them. Scan these immediately. As Yunha took the tags to a scanner, Jinho's smile faded. There was something about those tags that even he didn't know. Something that was about to change everything. Yunha carried Jinho's dog tags to a scanning station at the far side of the room. The metal tags dangled from her slender gray fingers as she placed them on a glowing blue panel. Beginning scan, she announced, her black eyes fixed on the floating display that appeared above the panel. Commander Tahoe paced impatiently. Hurry. Those Earth ships will be in weapons range in less than 30 minutes. Jinho watched from his restraint chair, trying to keep his face neutral. He had no idea why his dog tags would cause such concern. They were standard issue, just stamped metal with his name, blood type, and ID number. Scan complete, Yunha said. The outer layer is simple metal with basic identification markings, but there's something embedded inside. Tahoe moved closer to the display. What is it? A microchip, Yunha replied, sounding surprised. Very advanced. It contains encrypted data. Dr. Jizung joined them at the scanner. Can you decode it? Yunha's fingers moved across the floating display. I'm trying, but the encryption is... Wait. It's responding to our ship's systems. The display flickered and alien symbols appeared, rapidly changing to what Jinho recognized as English letters. It's translating itself, Yunha said, her voice filled with wonder. It's accessing our language database. Jinho strained to see the display from his position. This was news to him. His dog tags weren't supposed to contain any technology. At least, that's what he had been told when he received them. The display suddenly cleared, and a message appeared in bright red letters. Ko Chidon, Enhanced Human Soldier. GD Nidexi Kod Alpha 7. Handled with extreme pyrotosios. Silence fell over the room. All the aliens turned to stare at Jinho. What does this mean? Tahoe demanded, moving to stand over Jinho. What is genetic code Alpha 7? Jinho was just as confused. I don't know. I'm just a regular soldier. Lies, Doyen shouted. Our intelligence reports indicate humans have not developed genetic enhancement technology. I'm telling the truth, Jinho insisted. I've never heard of Alpha 7. Dr. Jizung was studying his tablet again, scrolling through the scan results from earlier. Commander, the unusual readings I detected, they show subtle modifications to his cellular structure. Modifications I didn't recognize because they're dormant. Dormant? Tahoe asked. Yes, the doctor explained. His DNA contains sequences that aren't active, but appear to be designed to activate under specific conditions. Jinho's mind raced. Was it possible? Had the Earth Defense Force been experimenting with genetic enhancements without telling their soldiers? Security Officer Hyunwoo, who had been monitoring the approaching Earth ships, spoke up. Commander, the Earth vessels have increased speed. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Tahoe made a quick decision. Move us to Sector 46. We need more time. He turned to Dr. Jisung. Find out what these enhancements do. Now. I'll need to run deeper scans, the doctor said, already adjusting his equipment. Yunhe was still examining the data from the dog tags. "Commander, there's more information here. It includes activation sequences." "Don't touch anything," Taiho ordered. "We don't know what could trigger these enhancements." Too late. As Yunhe's fingers moved across the display, the chip in the dog tags emitted a brief pulse of energy. The ship's lights flickered momentarily. Jinho gasped as a strange warmth spread through his body, starting from his chest and flowing outward to his limbs. His vision sharpened suddenly, colors becoming more vivid. He could hear the aliens' heartbeats, smell their strange, metallic scent more clearly. "What did you do?" he whispered, but his voice sounded different even to his own ears, deeper, more resonant. Dr. Jisung's eyes widened as he looked at his tablet. "Commander, the dormant sequences are activating. His body is changing at the cellular level." Jinho felt his muscles tense and relax, as if testing their new strength. The restraints that had held him securely now felt flimsy, like paper chains. Taiho saw the change in Jinho's eyes and took a step back. "Secure him, now." But Jinho knew something the aliens didn't. Whatever was happening to him, whatever his dog tags had triggered, it wasn't finished yet. And when it was, these restraints wouldn't hold him anymore. Alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed as the Kravax crew rushed to respond to the crisis unfolding in the examination room. Dr. Jisung's fingers flew across his tablet, his eyes wide with shock. "Commander, the human's body is changing rapidly. Heart rate increased by 200%. Muscle density growing. Brain activity off the charts." Jinho closed his eyes, trying to make sense of the storm inside his body. Every cell felt like it was on fire, but strangely, there was no pain, only power, raw and expanding. Memories flashed in his mind. His military training, routine medical exams that lasted longer than normal, strange pills he was told were vitamins for space duty. "You knew," he whispered, opening his eyes to look at his captors. "Earth Defense Force knew what I was." Commander Taiho backed away, drawing a weapon from his belt. "Restrain him further. Add the Class 3 bindings." Security Officer Hyunwoo rushed forward with metal cuffs that glowed with energy. Before he could attach them, Jinho flexed his arms. The standard restraints groaned, then snapped with a sharp crack. Jinho didn't move further, just sat there, looking at his freed hands with wonder. "Fascinating," Dr. Jisung murmured, seemingly more curious than afraid. "The enhancements appear to be adaptive. They're responding to threat levels." Lieutenant Doyen aimed his weapon at Jinho's head. "Don't move, human. One wrong step, and I'll end this experiment." Jinho slowly raised his hands to show he wasn't attacking. "I don't want to hurt anyone. I'm as surprised as you are." Yuna, still at the scanning station, called out, "Commander, I've decoded more of the chip. It contains a full report on something called Project Guardian. The Alpha 7 code refers to dormant enhancements designed to activate when the soldier is in hostile alien environments." "How could humans have such technology?" Taiho demanded. "Our reports show they've barely mastered basic space travel." Pilot Officer Seojin rushed into the room. "Commander, the Earth vessels are gaining on us. Our engines can't outrun them. They're using technology we've never seen before." Jinho laughed softly. "You've been watching us for years, haven't you? Studying us from afar. And all this time, we've been watching you too." Dr. Jisung approached Jinho cautiously, scanner in hand. "Your body temperature is stabilizing. The changes seem to be completing. May I?" He gestured with the scanner. Jinho nodded, curious himself about what was happening to his body. The doctor ran the device over Jinho's arm. "Remarkable. Your muscle fibers have restructured. Bone density increased by 60%. Your cellular repair rate is..." He paused, checking the readings again. 10 times normal human levels. "Is that why the other humans died?" Jinho asked. "They didn't have these enhancements." Dr. Jizong looked uncomfortable. Possibly. The stress of space travel without proper shielding is severe on unmodified bodies. Tahoe kept his weapon trained on Jinho. What else can you do, human? Jinho stood slowly, testing his new strength. The room seemed different now. He could see details he'd missed before, hear the subtle hum of the ship's engines through the walls. I don't know yet, but I think we're both going to find out. Yuna called out again. Commander, there's more. The chip contains a message. In case of capture by non-Earth forces, protocol revelation is activated. It's addressed to whoever captured the soldier. What is protocol revelation? Doyen demanded. Jinho felt knowledge flooding his mind, information that had been locked away, waiting for this moment. It means Earth is ready to talk, he said, his voice steady. But not as the primitive species you thought we were. The ship suddenly shuddered as something hit its shields. Direct hit from Earth vessel. Seojin shouted from a console. Shields at 60%. Their weapons shouldn't be capable of this. Tahoe looked at Jinho with new understanding and fear. What are you? Jinho stood tall, his eyes clear and certain. I am what Earth has been hiding from the stars. And I'm just the beginning. The meeting room on the Kravax ship had been quickly converted for the historic discussions. A large round table now stood in the center, with humans on one side and Kravax on the other. Jinho sat between the groups, his unique position as both soldier and first contact, making him the natural bridge between species. Colonel Hanna spread a series of documents on the table. These are our initial terms. We seek formal recognition from the Galactic Consortium as a sovereign species with protected status for our solar system. Commander Tahoe studied the papers, his black eyes moving quickly over the human text that had been translated into Kravax language. This is highly unusual. Most species are granted observer status for at least 50 cycles before consideration for full membership. Most species don't begin negotiations by having their soldiers abducted. Colonel Hanna replied sharply. Jinho raised a hand. Perhaps we should focus on what both sides can gain from this new relationship. Dr. Jizong nodded eagerly. The human's genetic enhancement program alone represents technology that could benefit many consortium worlds. Our medical sciences could be greatly advanced. Major Sangmin leaned forward. And Earth is interested in learning more about faster-than-light travel. Our own systems are less efficient than yours. So Earth doesn't have everything figured out, Lieutenant Doyen said with a slight smile. We're advanced, not omniscient, Jinho replied. There's much we could learn from each other. The discussion continued, moving from technology exchange to trade possibilities and cultural sharing. Jinho noticed that both sides were gradually relaxing, the initial hostility giving way to genuine curiosity. During a brief break, Yuna approached Jinho as he stood by a viewport, looking out at the Earth ships that still surrounded them. Your enhancements, she said quietly. They seem to be stabilizing. Are you in pain? Jinho shook his head. Not anymore. It felt strange at first, but now it's like I'm finally whole. Like a part of me was asleep, and now it's awake. Yuna hesitated, then asked, Did you really not know what you were? No, Jinho said honestly. I volunteered for the space program. They told us we would receive treatments to help us adapt to space conditions. I never suspected I was being turned into something more. Do you feel betrayed by your people? Jinho considered the question carefully. I'm not sure. They used me, yes. But I understand why. Earth needed to protect itself, and I was part of that protection. Their conversation was interrupted as Dr. Jizong approached with a medical scanner. Pardon me, Private Park, but I've been consulting with your Earth doctors via communication link. We believe we can help manage the stabilization process for your enhancements. Jinho raised an eyebrow. The first cooperative medical effort between our species. Dr. Jizong's face showed what might have been a smile. Indeed, your Colonel Hanna allowed me to speak with someone called Dr. Minji from your Alpha project. She's quite brilliant. Commander Tejo watched this exchange from across the room, then approached. "Private Park, a word." Jin-Ho nodded and followed Taho to a quiet corner. "Your people play a long game," Taho said quietly. "Decades of preparation, technology developed in secret, soldiers enhanced without their knowledge. Does this not concern you?" Jin-Ho looked back at the humans and Kravaks now talking together around the table. "What concerns me is what happens next. This could either be the beginning of a war that would damage both our peoples, or the start of something better." Taho followed his gaze. "The Consortium Council will not be pleased that we've been outmaneuvered." "Then don't present it that way," Jin-Ho suggested. "Tell them you've discovered a valuable new member world with much to offer. Your mission wasn't a failure. It was a first step towards something important." Taho considered this. "You think like a diplomat, not just a soldier." "Maybe that's part of my enhancement too," Jin-Ho said with a slight smile. Colonel Hanna called everyone back to the table. "We've received word from Earth Defense Command. They're prepared to activate the quantum link to the Consortium Council in 1 hour. Commander Taho, are you ready to make history?" Taho looked at Jin-Ho, then back to Colonel Hanna. "Yes, let us begin a new chapter for both our peoples." Jin-Ho felt a sense of pride and wonder. From hostage to diplomat in less than a day. All because of a secret hidden in a simple dog tag. Jin-Ho followed Yuna through the winding corridors of the Kravak ship. Guards they passed looked at him with a mixture of fear and curiosity. His enhanced hearing picked up their whispers. "The human broke free. Has strange powers. Earth ships have us surrounded." They reached the engineering section, where Commander Tejo stood before a large display showing the Earth vessels positioned around his ship. He turned as Jin-Ho entered, his face hard but controlled. "So," Taho said, "the primitive reveals his true nature." Jin-Ho stepped forward. "I'm as surprised as you are, Commander. I didn't know what I was until your people activated it." Dr. Jizung stood nearby, still studying data on his tablet. "Fascinating. The enhancements were triggered by our scanning technology. A perfect defense mechanism. If we hadn't tried to study him, we would never have known." Taho's eyes narrowed. "How long has Earth known about the wider galaxy? About the Consortium?" Jin-Ho felt knowledge flowing into his conscious mind. Information that had been hidden deep within his enhanced brain. 70 Earth years, since your people's first scout ships entered our solar system. Lieutenant Doyen, nursing his injured wrist, looked shocked. "That's impossible. We only began observation 30 years ago." "No," Jin-Ho said, shaking his head. "That's when the Kravaks began washing Earth. But the Volturi were there before you, and the Mirren before them." Taho exchanged glances with his officers. "You know of other Consortium species?" "We've been studied by many eyes," Jin-Ho explained, the words coming naturally now. "Earth has been cataloged as a primitive world not worth immediate conquest. That was our strategy all along." "Strategy?" Yuna asked. Jin-Ho walked to a viewport, looking out at the stars and the Earth ships beyond. "While the galaxy saw us as primitive tool users barely reaching our moon, we were studying you all. Learning your languages, your technologies, your weaknesses. The Alpha 7 program," Dr. Jizung said with dawning comprehension. "Just one of many defensive measures," Jin-Ho confirmed. "Some of us were enhanced physically, others mentally. Some can interface directly with alien technology. We appear primitive because we want potential invaders to underestimate us." Commander Taho's posture changed subtly. For the first time, he looked at Jin-Ho as an equal, not a specimen. "Why reveal this now?" "Because you forced our hand by taking me," Jin-Ho said simply. "My dog tag was designed to activate if I was ever captured by non-Earth forces. It's a failsafe." Pilot Officer Seojin entered the room hurriedly. "Commander, the Earth vessels are requesting docking permission. Their weapons remain locked on us, but they haven't fired since the human contacted them." Taho considered for a long moment. "And if I refuse?" Jin-Ho met his gaze steadily. Then you'll never report back to the consortium. Earth ships are faster than yours, better armed, and there are more arriving every minute. We've been building our fleet in secret asteroid bases throughout our system. A deception on a planetary scale, Tahoe said, sounding almost impressed. To appear weak when you are strong. The best defense, Jin-Ho replied. The ship's communication system activated, and a voice spoke in perfect Kravax language. Kravax vessel Sunderer, this is Colonel Hanna of Earth Defense Fleet. We request peaceful boarding to retrieve our soldier and initiate diplomatic contact. Everyone in the room looked surprised at the flawless alien language being spoken by the human colonel. Tahoe looked at Jin-Ho. How many other secrets does Earth hide? Jin-Ho smiled slightly. Many. But now we're offering something else. A chance for peaceful contact. Your mission was reconnaissance for potential conquest. That option is now closed. But there are others. Such as? Tahoe asked. Alliance. Trade. Cultural exchange. Earth doesn't want war with the consortium. We just wanted to ensure we wouldn't be conquered before we had a chance to introduce ourselves properly. Tahoe was silent for a long moment. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Finally, he reached for the communication panel. Colonel Hanna of Earth, this is Commander Tahoe. Permission to dock granted. We welcome diplomatic contact. Jin-Ho felt something like pride swell in his chest. This wasn't how he expected first contact to happen, but perhaps it was better this way. Earth meeting the galaxy from a position of strength, not weakness. Private Park, Tahoe said, turning back to Jin-Ho. It seems your dog tags have changed everything.